It was as a result of somewhere Peter went and something Peter saw, as well as something Peter heard, in addition to something which Peter received, that Peter became the man, the disciple that Jesus wanted him to be. And in our concluding reflection today, as we've journeyed with Peter onto the mountaintop with Jesus, an experience that was to leave a deep and lasting impression upon Peter, we want to think about someone who Peter became. In his journey from fisherman to founder, Peter would have many experiences, many deep and lasting experiences with Jesus. And this experience on the mountaintop with Jesus, somewhere where Peter went, and something which Peter saw, and something which Peter heard, and something which Peter received, it was all part of the journey that Jesus would take Peter on throughout his life, part of his journey from fisherman to founder. Someone Peter became. In our reflections yesterday, I posed the question, are we a learning people? And the consequence, if we are a learning people, is that we'll be open to change. You see, the natural consequence of following through on that learning, on being teachable and open to the Holy Spirit, is a willingness to change. Just like the three disciples, Peter, James, and John, had their thinking corrected on the mountaintop with Jesus as a result of seeing Jesus changed and transfigured. I love the words that Marilyn Baker wrote many years ago. You are the potter, I am the clay. Help me to be willing to let you have your way. Jesus, you are changing me as your Spirit reigns supreme within my heart. Someone Peter became. This was part of the character formation, as it were, part of Peter's learning, part of Peter's life experience, that Jesus would use this experience on the mountaintop to mold and to make Peter into that person that he wanted him to be. And often Jesus will bring us through situations. It may not be a mountaintop, it may well be a desert, it may well be a sea, as we thought about last week in our reflections. Experiences through which Jesus wants to mold and make us into the person he wants us to be. He took Peter onto a mountaintop so that he would mold and make him. I want to leave our reflections this week by reading a poem that was written by a good friend of mine, Malcolm Duncan, who is the senior pastor of Kensington Temple in London. He wrote a poem entitled God Gazer. These words could well have been attributed to Peter as he gazed at Jesus on that mountain. May these be words that can be attributed to us as well in our hearts. Do we have that desire to gaze at the majesty, the splendor, and the beauty of Jesus? Allow these words to speak to you today. I want to be a God gazer, captured by the brilliance that springs from the radiance of you. I want to be a God gazer, not a cheap food grazer or an easy option laser. I want to be a trailblazer for the ordinary everyday life. I want to be a God gazer. Not just copying the halcyon ways that shimmer brighter in the haze of bygone rays and good old days. I want to be a God gazer, looking beyond the trappings of success, cutting through the stucco of respectability like a laser-piercing darkness. I want to be a God gazer, reaching for the stars and seeing beauty in the moment by becoming fluent in the language of the God who is here, who is now. I want to be a God gazer until my imagination is saturated, my thirst is sated, my passion is stirred, until my intellect is stretched as far as it can be, until my yearning yearns for others to be free. I want to be a God gazer, not a meetings manager or a people pleaser or a tea and sympathy vicar, not a leadership trainer, not a speaker, but a seeker. I want to be a God gazer. And for a moment, I want God to gaze through me. I want others to see his eyes, heart, mind, and love above everything else in me. I want to be a God gazer, captured by the brilliance that springs from the radiance of you. Words that could well have been attributed to Peter as he stood gazing at the majesty of Jesus on that mountain. I want to be a God gazer, captured by the brilliance that springs from the radiance of you. Friends, fellow disciples, fellow journeymen and women, is it our desire that we would be God gazers? And like Peter, that we would be captured by the brilliance that springs from the radiance of Jesus. Peter was captured that day on the mountain by the brilliance that sprung from the radiance of Jesus. May the experience of Peter on the mountaintop with Jesus be part of our journey and our experience too, as Jesus molds us and makes us into the person, into the disciple he wants us to be. May we, like Peter, be captured by the brilliance that springs from the radiance of Jesus.